Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for being here for my talk. I know student talks are not always all that interesting, so I appreciate you bearing with me for this talk. Also, I want to say for the people that are participating in Sesshin and in Ango, we're on day 4 now, right? Kind of lost count. But just to say, I realize I think day 4 is kind of can be a turning point for sure. We're kind of over hump day, I suppose. And then just to say, there are a lot of forms, right, in Zen. It's a lot of really kind of intense, I would say, forms. And there's this great YouTube talk from Chogyam Trungpa Rinpoche, where he talks about the forms of Zen. And he's talking about realization. He's talking about realization, and he's saying, realization is like a pancake. Most people, you want a pancake, you just make a pancake. But in Zen, we don't have just make a pancake. We have this very intricate machine with all these moving parts that just do just the right thing at just the right time. And then at the end, you have a pancake. You do get the pancake, but that the machine is really important. And so I want to acknowledge that everybody is participating in upholding the machine. Because, these forms developed over thousands of years, and they're all there for a specific reason. And I would say that is to help you in your practice. So thank you so much for your patience in upholding the forms, learning the forms, trying your best. Hopefully we all get a pancake. And so yeah, a talk, jeepers. I really don't, not sure what to talk about. There's the theme of Ango. So the theme of Ango is non-arising. There's a stanza from Jinshu. The body is a Bodhi tree, the mind a mirror bright. We must wipe it constantly and let no dust alight. So that's Jinshu. And then our 6th ancestor, there is no Bodhi tree, nor a mirror bright. Since everything is emptiness, where can dust alight? I think I want to talk about the importance of finding a Huineng teacher, like a 6th ancestor teacher, like a Daiken No teacher. And he's our 6th ancestor after Bodhidharma. So when we chant the names, the 57 Buddhas, I think it's called the chant in our chant book. Yeah, you're chanting Daiken No's name, and he's the 6th after Bodhidharma. And he's the kind of teacher you want to have. Why? Because he's a realized teacher. He can actually share from his own personal experience the true Dharma with you. As opposed to Jinshu, who's kind of stuck in form, right? A little bit, well, maybe a lot. He hasn't really broken through into a big mind sort of identity at this point, and he's kind of still dealing with pretty much a small self point of view. You don't really want that kind of teacher. And just to kind of give an example, a recent example from my own life, some of you may know we had a talk from Roshi yesterday where he talked about the scattered mind and not sitting with the scattered mind. And yeah, that's certainly a mistake I've been making for 3 years now. And the reason I've been making that mistake, partly, obviously my own weakness too. I'm not a very good student, but someone said to me, it doesn't really matter if you're sitting in big mind or scattered mind, big mind, scattered mind, doesn't matter. Just, whatever comes up kind of thing. So I've been practicing in such a way as to let scattered mind come while I'm sitting. And I've been making that mistake based on advice that a human being gave me. And I just want to, say I feel kind of like an idiot for doing that. I feel really kind of, gosh, what was I thinking? Letting a human being give me advice on my practice, right? So I want to say, don't take any advice from me. Really, what do I know? I don't know anything. Do not take any advice from me. But I can tell you about this one mistake, and that is I took advice from somebody. So, the scattered mind, dang. And the really sad thing is, I'm not sure this is a mistake I can fix. And I've made a lot of mistakes. I think if you listed out all the mistakes in Zen, I'm sure I've done them all. Pretty sure. Lots of mistakes. But this one feels like it's going to be pretty hard to turn the ship around. It feels like it's going to be pretty hard to overcome this scattered mind again, you know. Yeah. So, so I'm feeling a little broken up about that, and that's why I'm not really sure where to take this talk. Because practice is hard, right? Practice is hard in ways that you can't even, I mean, I find it hard, maybe you don't, but I find it hard in ways that I can't even begin to anticipate. It just ends up being hard, and then it's hard, and then it's hard, and then it's something else that's hard. It just doesn't seem to, whew, lighten up. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Maybe I could add the word Tathagata is very important for us. Tathagata um, means coming and it means going. So these are the two opposites that we struggle with. Scattered mind, or the five skandhas, is matter of form, sensations, like good sensation, neutral sensation, uh, bad sensation, okay? And perception, how you see things, how you understand things, and then volition. Volition is like will, or it's very strong, your volition, and then the end is consciousness. All those gathered together makes uh, the false self. And that's what people live by, the five skandhas. But as I mentioned earlier, in the kanji form of Japanese, especially Chinese characters, skandhas, it says five bundles. Now, why, if if the scattering mind is scattering, it's unfocused, it's disturbed, it's not stable, and this is what people operate on. But there's a bundle within the scattering. This is the principle of the universe. It has to be this way. Otherwise, night can't turn to day, day can't turn to night. So there's a bundle. So the activity, when it scatters, it means it can be bundled because the bundle is there. That's that's Tathagata. Tathagata Zen, Tathagata. When we use the word Tathagata, we have to remember that word. Buddha, I mean, he was a person, and I I'm beginning to respect him even more and more and more. I mean, he was a champion that presented a way that he was victorious that we could be liberated. It's almost 2,600 years ago, the proclamation of the Four Noble Truths. And of course, the first one is the world is not permanent. And because people, the skandhas is attached to the world of permanency. And this is what we Well, ever since we were a baby, receiving milk from the mother, it's over there. We begin to think of things as over there, but not one. So there was a big separation between the opposites. And this is what humanity suffers from. So because the activity is scattering, there is bundling. The activity of bundle is there, and it means it ties it together. And meditation is unifying the mind. Zazen is unifying the mind. That's the purpose of Zazen. And when the mind is unified, you're free. So, yeah, it takes some time to. Someone wrote me a letter. It said that I gave a workshop many, many moons ago. And he was very young. And I asked him in the workshop how we were talking about a films, and literally just films, rolls of films and frames. And I asked him how, he said, you asked me how old I was. And this person said he was 16 years old. And I said, well, that's how much film you have to unwind. Each year old you are, you have to unwind it. And he wrote me a letter and he said, I finally unwound it. This is 5 years later. I don't know who he is or how old he is now, but he finally unwound it. But that's very good. And he said he could even edit his film when he's sitting, but it's not finished. I mean, you may arrive at that special or empty spaciousness, but it's not finished because it's not man-made. The completion is to keep clarifying it, and it's infinite clarification. So Tathagata, we have to know this word. It's the opposites, coming and going, and our zazen should unify the opposites, the scattering and bundling, unify it. So basically, in the Agama Sutras, which was after Buddha died, the Pali Sutras, it said all of Buddha's past, present, and future, their purpose was to clarify the mind. That was the purpose, not to become a chaplain, or but that is the purpose of the mind, to clarify the mind. And so we are practicing the discipline and the preparation and the training and the cultivation for this purpose. And that's why it's difficult, because we have many years of film that we have to unwind. But everyone goes through their own process, and it's not impossible. Mm-hmm. A little addition.
Thank you.
Yeah, if it's impossible, Buddha would have dried up, would have died. Huh? True, huh?
Mm-hmm. You know, some days it just feels really difficult. Um, would you mind reading that?
Oh, yeah, this is what the Buddha said, and it's from Atta Dipa Viharata Atta Sharana Ananna Sharana Dhamma Dipa Dhamma Sharana Anamma Sharana. You could read. And this was, it's interesting. It says this was Buddha's unspoken words. These are his unspoken words. And Atadipa means you are the light. Viharata means dwell in the light. Atta Sarana means rely on yourself which includes the light, not your little self, but the big self which includes the light. And Ananna Sharana means do not rely on others. Again, Dhamma Dipa, Dhamma, Dharma, Dhamma is light. Dhamma Sharana, rely only on Dharma. That you can rely on. Anamma Sharana, do not rely other than. This beautiful Buddha's last unspoken words.
Which I think he spoke to his cousin, right?
Huh?
He spoke that to his cousin Ananda, did he not? As he was dying.
Yeah, probably.
I read Ananda was really sad because he hadn't attained and the Buddha was dying and he was really sad about that.
Yeah.
And so Buddha said these words to him.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
To encourage him to rely on himself and do not rely on others.